Long time, no speak. Yeah, it's been a while. It's been hectic. It's holiday season. But regardless, Mean Street Journal isn't going anywhere. This one, I'm gonna bullshit about the year 1989, the fucking heavy albums that came out. And mainly, ones that impacted me personally. And I might get some shit because, some of these bands were gateway metal bands. And yes, this is around the time I was exploring the genre a little more. I was a little younger. And some of these artists came a little late, to me anyway. I was a kid. I was a preteen and a teenager when discovering a lot of this. And I'm going to start off with a band called, yes, Black Sabbath. Yeah, big fucking surprise, right? Anyway, 1989, like I said, this is the second album to feature Tony Martin on vocals. And joining the fold on drums, we got Cozy Powell. And this is the only album to feature Lawrence Cottle on bass, who also played on Tony Iommi's 2000 solo album, Iommi. In 2024, this album got the remastered treatment with 3 other Black Sabbath albums with Tony Martin on vocals, which I covered that in a fucking video a while back when it first came out. Anyway, my favorite tracks in the album would be the title track Headless Cross, Devil and Daughter, which that one's secretly written about Mr. Arden and Mrs. Osborne. We will just keep that short and sweet. When Death Calls is pretty fucking tight. Killing the Spirit World is pretty good. It reminds me of a fucking radio hit, it's really catchy. It's got a Dio kind of vibe to it with a little bit of hair metal. Pretty good. Call of the Wild, Jesus Christ, has a nice hook to it. A little more darker. I fucking like that one as well a lot. Black Moon's pretty cool. Nightwing, fuck. And then the bonus track, Cloak and Dagger. It's a really good fucking album as a whole. Like, most albums, you get fucking, there's a gap, there's a song you want to fucking bump off or something. Or only has a couple good songs. I mean, it's Black Sabbath. It's not because I'm biased, diehard fan or nothing, but this album's pretty fucking tight. This is probably one of the best albums from the Tony Martin era, I want to say. And another trivial tidbit. Mr. Brian May from Queen supplies a guitar solo for the song When Death Calls. But how do you ignore that fucking bass intro at the beginning? That's a fucking bass. That fucking crazy harmonic little fucking jazz thing. I even heard at one time that it was advised to have Tony Iommi recruit Ronnie James Dio once again. And even, what's his name from Whitesnake? David Coverdale. Yeah, that would have been a good idea in the success format of the band, but I think they did really great with Tony Martin here. Like, in my fucking humble opinion, I think Tony Martin's probably the best fit for this album. And it would be cool to hear Dio front it, of course. I mean, anything he touches is fucking gold, don't get me wrong. And even David Coverdale, it would still sound great, but it would probably be more poppy. That's my opinion, though, but regardless, it's gonna fucking sound awesome. But I think it's top-notch the way it fucking happened. Oh yes, and by the way, this is album number 14, and I don't want to go too much in detail because I did talk about the box set. Anyway, next. Number 2, here's an album I need to probably listen to a little bit more, but it's DRI with their 5th album, Thrash Zone. That came out on Metal Blade Records, I'm going to add. I'm going to go with 2 go-to tracks in this one because I do need to listen to the album in full a little bit more, but I'm going to say Beneath the Wheel. I kind of knew that song for a while. And The Enemy Within, which I have on a Metal Blade Records box set from 2002, like a 20th anniversary box set. You should probably get your hands on that. They're out of print, but they're kind of cool little collector's items. It's got like a fuckload of CDs and a DVD in it, and like a little history book. I don't know, for all the fucking metal nerds out there. But yeah, this is the band's biggest seller, and the song Beneath the Wheel, like I mentioned, has a music video, and it was a single floating around a lot of those Metal Blade compilations and whatnot. And the song's also featured in a video game called, I think, Skate 2, the second one, Skate 2, I think. I'm not much of a video game guy, but, just by research. Number 3, another Metal Blade album by Fate's Warning, and the album's called Perfect Symmetry. I'm going to throw the go-to tracks in there for now, 2 of them, Through Different Eyes and Nothing Left to Say. And this is the band's 5th album. And the band was going through a transition of sound during this time. They were kind of leaving, I don't want to say leaving behind that Iron Maiden influence that you heard on the albums before, but they're bringing more of a progressive, kind of like a, I want to say Queensryche sound without, I don't want to say they're a carbon copy or nothing, because I don't want to fucking go there. But yeah, they kind of got a little similarity with Queensryche. I personally find this band way better than Queensryche. Yeah, fuck me, right? But I'm sticking to my guns on that shit. And I checked, I don't even own this album. I have a couple tracks I got. I think I got the tracks I mentioned, but I do need to buy this CD, like, actually on fucking disc, not the download. I love physical copies a lot more than the download feature, but because I'm old school and it looks cool on the shelf and you hold it in your hand and you smell it. No, you know that whole fucking thing. But no, you got that whole physical fucking library. Makes it look bitchin'. It's like you officially own the motherfucker. But no, I really think I need to get this fucking album. I only have a couple of their albums on CD, and I don't know fucking why I'm so fucking behind on my collection like that. But yeah, I highly recommend this one. As a matter of fact, there's a remastered edition that has a bonus disc full of demos. So definitely check it out. I think there's a DVD live disc or something of their tour. But definitely up your collections. You know, get the physical media. You know, that's my fucking opinion anyway. Kind of a cool tidbit when a metal, not just a metal band, but like a band on Metal Blade Records. You know, that's just my fucking forte of bands. Anyway, when they hit the Billboard 200 and it's like 141, that's a goddamn score, you know? Like, I'm like, fuck yeah, dude. I love that shit. Next, we got Fabulous Disaster by the band Exodus. This will be their third album. It was put out by Combat and Relativity Records. And in 1989, Century Media put out a reissue. And this would be the final album to feature drummer Tom Hunting, the original drummer of the band, until his return in 1997 for the live album, Another Lesson in Violence. I'm going to say I find the album good, but not great, but I do love the single, The Toxic Waltz. To me, that song's pretty fucking badass. But they also cover they cover the song Lowrider by the band War, as well as the song Overdose by AC/DC. I actually fucking dig that cover, actually. That's pretty fucking good. Usually bands cover AC/DC and it's like, you know, but this one's pretty good. I mean, Homeboy does kind of sound like Bon Scott in a way. And here's an odd one to throw in the mix, but it's the second album by the band LA Guns, Cocked and Loaded. The songs I'm going to aim for, Rip and Tear and The Ballad of Jane. Yes, these LA Sunset Strip bands are kind of a guilty pleasure, and you got called a fucking poser by other metalheads for admitting you like them. Punk rockers also hated them too. But you know what? These fucking hair bands are pretty fucking punk rock. They were ballsy. They're from fucking LA. They're a bunch of white boys dressing like chicks. Do you think they're gonna take any fucking shit? I don't fucking think so. Them motherfuckers were gangster as fuck. I mean, I'm not saying LA Guns dress like chicks, but I mean, you know that whole fucking scene. Like Motley Crue, for example. You think someone's gonna go up and call them a fucking derogatory term and actually walk away in good condition? I don't fucking think so. But yeah, this is LA Guns' second album. And it kind of bothers me a little bit. People think about Guns N' Roses and they forget the origin of the band. Tracy Guns is why the Guns is in Guns N' Roses. Because the dude fucking, you know, left the band and Slash replaced his department in the band. And if you have the Japanese import, there is a cover of Montrose Rock Candy. I need to actually check that out. I think I heard it once, but I need to go fucking hunt that fucker down because I'm a big Sammy Hagar fan and I love Montrose as well. And you have a kind of a nice lineup of guest musicians. You got Ted Nugent himself playing some guitar, Derek St. Holmes from Ted Nugent's band doing backup vocals. You got Robin Zander and Rick Nielsen from the band Cheap Trick. I mean, you got them motherfuckers on your album. Okay, it's gonna sound really fucking tits. They're doing backup vocals as well. And yeah, there are other singles. Never Enough, I Want to Be Your Man, and Malaria. I do own this CD somewhere. I need to fucking dig it up. It's in storage, I think, or something. I'm in a little transition phase in my life right now, and have been for about a year. Anyway, now I gotta dig this motherfucker up and listen to the whole motherfucker because I didn't load the bastard in my iTunes like a fucking moron. Anyway, no, I need to pick up this in the debut, and there's another album I want to get to, but another time, but when they went through a heavier sound change. Anyway, next. Alright, Testament, Practice What You Preach. That one's the title track of the album. I'm going to probably say it's my go-to. I love his fucking voice in that motherfucker. that deep fucking grizzly bear motherfucker voice. Practice what you preach. Yeah, fucking, yeah. I'm sitting down. That's not a good impression, but that's what you're fucking getting right now. I'm not here to entertain you, by the way, so kiss my fucking ass. Anyway. So yeah, it was one of those albums on Atlantic and Megaforce Records. This is like the great time of, well, not great, but 80s and 90s, fucking metal bands were on major labels and making pretty decent paychecks for what the industry was offering for a band like that. So I mean, that was kind of a cool deal. I mean, the album almost hit gold, and it's in the Billboard 200s and the top 100 or something like that. And that's what kind of bugs me. You got the big four, no complaints, but I mean, motherfucker, dude, Testament should have sold gold or even fucking platinum at least. I mean, the goddamn band is so fucking, they're amazing. Like, their musicianship is motherfucking awesome. They can write songs really fucking good. The singer's got one of the best fucking heavy metal voices ever, so I mean, it's just like, it's one of them shit happens things, but I mean, I'm glad they're at least where they are at in the fucking level of success. And yeah, this would be album number 3, by the way. And I might have to add the ballad is pretty fucking great. I like their intricate shit too. As much as I like their thrashy death metal, fucking brutal ass fucking songs they're known for, their fucking ballads, their acoustic shit is really fucking awesome. Really fucking stellar. I tried fucking playing some of their shit, and like, nothing against Metallica, but like, I could play the Metallica stuff really easy, but trying to mimic Testament on guitar is a motherfucker, and has been for me. Maybe I just didn't, delve deeply into it, but yeah, their songs can be a little tricky to play. And yes, I think I do need to listen to this album a little bit more. I used to rotate their albums a lot, a long time ago, and I kind of like skipped these older albums and kind of focused on their new stuff, because the new stuff is just little, I was kind of liking it a little more better, but I think I'm kind of getting interested in checking the older albums out again, because it's like that classic 80s sound, you just can't fucking abandon that, you know what I'm saying? So I'm kind of kicking myself in the ass for kind of forgetting like some of the other songs in the album, and they're not fucking fillers, like, by any fucking means. This band does not put out fillers, and they have a lot of fucking albums. So I mean, kudos to that shit, because they're fucking amazing. Alright, this time we're going to Canada, eh? So get out them fucking gravy fry, poutine, yeah, Anyway, we got a debut album by the band Annihilator. Alice in Hell is the album title. And it came out on Roadrunner Records. And this album was done actually as a 3-piece with Randy Rampage on vocals, punk band. He's from the punk band DOA. He was the bassist and the vocalist. And of course, founder, guitarist Jeff Waters, who also handled bass guitar as well. And Ray Hartman on drums. And yeah, this is an album I need to fucking spin a little bit fucking more. But no, this album doesn't have any fillers either. This is actually Canada's most successful metal band. And I think they, I'm glad where they're at. They're influential, big in a way. But I think they deserve a little bit more credit as well. Like they probably should have obtained another higher success as well. And another debut album, the band Skid Row, with the album Skid Row, with the song Skid Row on Skid Row Records. No, self-titled album. But despite the LA sound that they had at the time, they're actually a band that was from New Jersey, formed by guitarist Snake Sabo and bassist Rachel Bolin. And yeah, I'm going to go with the songs that are mostly singles, like I Remember You, Youth Gone Wild, 18 to Life. 18 to Life and I Remember You really bring back memories that summer of 89. I was 8. The movie Batman just came out. I don't want to get too deep into that, but holy fuck, those 2 songs really fucking bring me back to another time. Like a real fucking happy, nostalgic, like surreal fucking time in my life, It was like this perfect happy childhood, like one of the moments I can kind of look back and go, there was a perfect timeline right there. It just fucking pulls me in. But as of late, I really like the song Making a Mess. It's about something I like to do as well. But I'm not going to get to specifics because, we're going to keep this family oriented, right? Minus the F-bombs. Anyway, But I'm just gonna say holy fuck one more time about the nostalgic hit that kind of gets to me a little bit about this album. Yeah, I was living in Corona, California, and that time and place, that location, that time frame, just really fucking were like perfect. You know, that the late '80s and early '90s in that particular location were just like the ideal safe space for me. But I got to see a lot of cool shit and hear a lot of good fucking bands, you know, coming up and around, you know, the radio. This is like the radio days. Like, that's what those songs were really big. They were fucking hits. Radio actually played good shit. You know, you got KNAC, Pirate Radio, KLOS. And I think there was KCAL in that location because it was like Inland Empire. You know, we were close to LA and Orange County, but we were in the Inland Empire in that perfect little spot, you know. So we had lots of good fucking tunes. MTV played real shit. There was Request Video. It was this show on television with Poor Man. That was fucking cool. I think that's where I saw a lot of the videos, if I remember correctly. But I don't want to go on and on about that. It's just, you know, something I'd like to share, you know, some little tidbit information about my point of view of this shit. After all, it's my fucking journal. Anyway, and you got questions, go fucking ahead and ask them. I think that's kind of cool, you know, if people are interested in bullshitting about, you know, how they heard stuff and all that. And here we go. Here's one of my favorite albums by this band. I can't decide if it's my fucking favorite album by the band, but pretty damn close, if not. But it's Beneath the Remains by Sepultura, album number 3, on Roadrunner, Road Racer at the time. Good fucking album, just pure fucking heavy. Like, if you want fucking, you know, if you're a punk rocker and you want to fucking get into some metal where this is kind of something, you know, it's fucking fast. The drums are fast as fuck. The guitars are beefy and just makes you want to beat the shit out of some neo-Nazi motherfuckers in the mosh pit. Oops, I shouldn't fucking talk about that. Anyway, fuck those motherfuckers. Anyway. Fuck it. The soundtrack to beating the fuck out of rednecks. That's a good fucking album title for a band. Maybe I should put that out. Anyway, let's get to the fucking album. So we got Beneath the Remains by Sepultura. And this is the era of the band, you know, Max Cavalera on vocals and rhythm guitar, and his brother on drums, Igor Cavalera. And you had Andreas Gisar on lead guitar, and he played bass. He did the bass tracks on the album. And then you got bassist Paulo Jr., who's credited as the bass player, but he didn't record any shit at the time. I'm actually glad he started recording later, because it's like he's got a really good bass sound, but I guess he's really not into... at the time or whatever, he was not into recording in the studio, so he kind of just kicked back while the band was tracking. And the album was produced by Scott Burns, which is, you know, kind of a staple for a lot of metal bands in the 80s, especially like Roadrunner bands. But you got a good list of guest musicians like Kelly Schaefer from Atheist, John Tardy from Obituary, Scott Latour from the Incubus, the metal band, not that fucking, you know, pop rock fucking band. Same with Francis H. Howard from the band Incubus, the same fucking Incubus. But anyway, yeah, these guys are supplying backing vocals on the track, Stronger Than Hate. That's a pretty good fucking track. It's heavy as fuck, and their vocals just add a lot of muscle to it. I mean, that song for sure. I'm going to probably say Beneath the Remains. Inner Self's pretty fucking tight, but Beneath the Remains, I think, is pretty fucking bad. Yeah, you know, Inner Self, too. Fuck. I can't even... It's hard to decide because there's so many good fucking songs. Massive Gnosis, Sarcastic Existence, Slaves of Pain, Lobotomy, Hungry, Primitive Future. This whole album is probably, to me, this is like when they were starting to get better. Like, they were good on their first album, you know, a little bit, not too great. You know, Schizophrenia, fucking nice jump, dude. That album was actually pretty fucking bomb. This album might be, like, to me, their ideal sounding album. Even though the next album, Arise, I'm not going to go to the future too much on this. That album is probably pretty close. It's hard for me to decide, but I want to say this one might be my favorite in a lot, you know, because when I play in their shit, I don't know, I kind of like gravitate toward this album a lot when I'm playing their stuff in rotation. In so much for being short and sweet, this fucking album. Anyway, no. This motherfucking video, I'm almost at 20 minutes. I need to wrap this motherfucker up. So I'm going to throw in some quickies here. You got White Zombie. You got an album from White Zombie before they're even like a fucking, you know, a celebrity. era band. But yeah, this fucking album was like on their own. It was like really low budget, lo-fi, industrial metal. Yeah, so they got an album that came out that year. It's decent. It's not great. Check it out if you're a fan of the band. I mean, it's just something to listen to if you're a fan of the band. And it might grow on you if you like some, crusty shit. It's pretty good. Not great at all, but definitely check it out. Gotta mention the band Sodom. They put out an album called Agent Orange, and it's their third album. Yes, German thrash metal band, Sodom. Good album. I gotta admit, I'm a little behind their shit, so I will rotate it. There you go. This is just courtesy mention, so my friend, a particular friend in Arizona, doesn't jump my shit for skipping a couple bands. Hey, dude, how you doing? Or how about the album Bleach, the debut album by Nirvana? This is before Dave Grohl joined the band. But yeah, it was Chad Channing on drums before Dave Grohl joined the fold. And this is around the time they were a 4-piece. The album was recorded as a 3-piece, but they had a second guitarist during that time frame, though. And yes, I need to spin this album again. It's been a while. I never really was a big fan of the group. They do have a little bit of a sludge metal sound, and of course, they were kind of a punk band at the time. Kind of like what a lot of bands that turned into sludge bands or grunge bands or whatever were pretty much originally punk bands that kind of just evolved and got better at their instruments and whatnot. Anyway, next. Another band I was never a big fan of, but, liked their shit was 9 Inch Nails with Pretty Hate Machine. Down in the Hole, Down in It, or whatever the fuck. I really kind of dig the album because I remember it reminds me of going boogie board in Sill Beach, various places in Orange County anyway, with my stepbrother Steve, and he always played a lot of new wave stuff, but this is like one of the heavier, albums he played, and I was kind of digging it. And it reminds me of good times with my late stepbrother Steve, So kudos to this fucking album. This one brings back some memories, even though this was like 1996 and stuff, 95, 96, 97, when we were driving in his car with his big subwoofer. I fucking love that shit. I had to kind of beg him, here, can we play some Metallica? And he wouldn't always do that, but I think to shut my ass up, he'd pop in some of my metal stuff, but I think he dug a little bit of it. But good memories of some shit. Here's a debut. Obituary, Slowly We Rot. Good fucking album. This is like good death metal. You can actually hear the fucking words. I love the voice the guy has. It could be a little cheesy, his growl, but you can actually hear what the fuck he's saying. The guitar tone these motherfuckers have, it's like that doom, that low sludgy fuzz kind of distortion. This is when they had Alan West on guitar, and I think he's pretty much like the sound of like the band in a way, like guitar wise. 6 Feet Under shit he did later, but no, dude, his era of the band to me is like the best, and that's no bashing what they're doing now without him. I really love the fucking sound that they had with him. I'm gonna toss in Motley Crue, because why the fuck not? Their 5th album, Dr. Feelgood. Yeah, I remember these songs on the radio a lot, like I was saying about a couple other bands. I remember this kid with a mullet. He was always singing the title track. Of course, hear that. Kickstart My Heart, Without You. The other fucking song. Yeah, SOS. The Same Old Situation. Yeah. That was another radio hit. Good album, I think. I'm not going to try to go back off track of the other albums. Of course, it's not a fucking part 2 to the debut Too Fast for Love, no. But Dr. Feelgood, this is kind of like when they were chart toppers, it's good shit. This is radio music, like on the norm, this fucking time frame. And as much as I started like bashing it, turning into a metalhead, looking at these fucking hair bands, it was good shit. You can't complain, because the radio music was turning into shit when I was like complaining about the hair bands. I was like, this is like the mid-90s looking back, going, what the fuck? I'm like, this alternative shit is fucking horrible compared to this hairband shit. But then now, looking back, the alternative shit was actually pretty fucking good. Compared to what was happening later, But no, you look at this shit now, it's just the musicianship and songwriting. The production of an album, though, has more fucking flavor. I mean, that's just my ears, maybe because I'm a musician. And you listen to something that comes out now, like mainstream fucking pop, pussy fucking rock, whatever. It's fucking generic. I mean, I'm not one to judge, I guess, but I mean, as a musician standpoint, I can hear the difference. I can hear there's a lot of love put into those fucking recipes on the older albums. So the production, like itself, besides the music being great, it's the production, the engineers, the hard work they put into it. And it was also analog tape with digital, or some bands would just be straight up digital. And let's not delve into the topic too much. Next. Oh, another debut album, The Altars of Madness. Anyway, by the band, fucking Morbid Angel. Their debut album, Altars of Madness, on Combat Records, Earache Records. This is some good shit. I mean, it's fucking death metal, but this is pretty good death metal in my opinion. Like, I'm real fucking picky on that subgenre. And yes, I'll admit, I really need to spin this album because I was more familiar with some of their later material. But no, this is decent death metal. You just have to really be in the fucking mood for it. It's in my opinion, it's good, but it's not great. It's not, Obituary, if you want to say, for death metal standards, is actually fucking great. Morbid Angel's good on a high note, but yeah. Let me just get more familiar with this album again, but I'm going to say it kicks ass. We're just going to go move along now. Here we go. I had to track this album out on fucking eBay because it's out of print, which kind of bothers me because, like, there's actually a couple of hits on the album I remember hearing on the radio. But the album's called Save Yourself by the Macaulay Schenker Group. This album being their 6th, and it's the title track. And there's a song called Anytime. Those were on the radio a fucking lot, especially Anytime. I heard it like all over the place. And for some fucking weird reason, it was stuck in my head. I don't even know, like, I thought I heard it on Spotify. I'm like, why is that Anytime song stuck in my head? And I looked it up, tried to find it, tried to buy it digitally. It was not played anywhere. I'm like, dude, so where the fuck did it come from? It was like a memory from like this year, 1989, that like just fucking for some reason popped in my head. There's something about 1989 or certain years, time frames, whatever, that music, the soundtrack of my playground, we'll just say. Like, I think I was like at my uncle's house or something, my aunt and uncle, and the song probably was on, and I probably remembered a flashback. And you would hear music coming out of people's windows, garages, random fucking places in public, and it was kind of like maybe I was remembering something, riding my bike or whatever, and it popped in the radio or some shit, and it was like maybe I was thinking about a moment back then, and it like came back to my memory. That's pretty fucking trippy. So anyway, I like looked around. This motherfucking CD was on eBay, maybe like $20. I'm like, fuck it, fucking nostalgia's priceless, dude. Just buy the motherfucker. And good luck trying to find it new. Like, you're not gonna probably find a sealed one for cheap at all. I had to buy a used copy. But yeah, you can't really stream like the album version of this song or this album in general. But that song, like, it was stuck in my fucking head for a while, and it's probably my only explanation to myself. Anyway, let's fucking shut up about nostalgia and move the fuck on. All right, we got the band Dark Angel with the album Leave Scars. It's their 3rd album. This band's pretty much kick-ass thrash metal. I love their drummer, Gene fucking Hoglan, the Atomic Clock, and he even plays guitar, rhythm guitar. I mainly know his music from being the drummer in Testament, and I've seen him play a double fucking set in 2012 with Anthrax. He filled in for Charlie Benante when they had a family emergency. But no, he fucking did a double set. He was playing in Testament, and then he fucking played in Anthrax, and he was still going. It's like, how does some fucker play that fucking great? He's got the most precise fucking double bass and timing. Like, he's just like the perfect fucking drummer. And I don't want to bash Charlie Benante, who's like probably my favorite thrash metal drummer, who's got that jazz shit. He's really fucking machine gun as well. But like, they both have like their own unique styles. Anyway, not to get off topic. I mean, it was on the this album was on the Billboard 200 at like, so 159 or some shit around that. And it was their first album with their singer Ron Reinhardt, and their bass player Mike Gonzalez. And this is the band's most successful release as well. I think there's something about this year, like, being, like, a most successful release, you know, maybe because this is, like, before that transition where, you know, metal, rock, hair rock, you know, true rock bands were kind of getting, like, big. And then, like, that overnight thing that happened in the early 90s where it turned into alternative and grunge. And this is probably, like, a result of that. Oh, and if you're a Led Zeppelin fan, and if you're not a Led Zeppelin fan, you probably shouldn't be listening to this. But anyway, they cover the Immigrant Song, and I need to listen to that again. It's been a good fucking while. I need to spin the whole fucking album, actually. Or how about the band Creator with the album Extreme Aggression, and this is album number 4. And for a German band, I think this is around the time they were getting more well-known in America because of Headbangers Ball and MTV, and KNAC was really spinning some good shit like this. And yes, I know my friend's going to say I need to spin this album more, and yes, I do. There's a lot of shit I need to catch up on. Don't really get a chance to listen to a lot of music when you're, especially lately, you know, when you're in transition mode of different living situations and recording an album, and, you know, I'm just going to not go into detail, but yeah. We're going to go with The Real Thing by Faith No More. This is a fucking huge fucking album, obviously. Yes, another third album by a band. This is on Reprise Records. And it's the first album to feature Mike Patton on vocals. This is like, you know, a big transition to the band. And, you know, he replaced the original guy. The original guy was fucking great, but Mike Patton, dude, like, that motherfucker's like, I'm not a big fan of the guy, but when you're familiar with his work, you're like, holy fuck. And I'm gonna say it, I don't give a fuck. Red Hot Chili Peppers knocked off their sound, blah blah blah. You've heard it before, but I'm gonna fucking say it too. Fucking Faith No More is the band that really fucking made that fucking groove funk sound with the weird vocals and shit kind of happen, and I'm gonna give them the credit for it. I'm not gonna go too much into detail on the accolades. We already know it's a juggernaut, it's successful, blah blah blah, the whole fucking nine. But yes, the song Epic, you know, we know it's a big hit. I think Falling to Pieces is pretty good too, but I don't want to go yapping too much about this album. It's great, you know, we all know Faith No More fucking kicks ass, and, you know, of course I need to get more fucking familiar with the album, but I'm gonna say, you know, like, their fucking cover War Pigs from Black Sabbath is pretty tight, and, you know, fucking kudos to them, they kick ass, and, you know, we'll let the other media cover this band because it's a pretty mainstream album, and I don't want to delve too much on the larger albums. We'll let someone else kind of fucking, I'll just stay basic on that. We'll let the other big media fucking outlets talk about them, but I'm gonna throw it in just because I dig the record. But yeah, you guys have a good one. Thank you for checking out Mean Street Journal. Until next time, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the fucking bell. Please and thank you. And for your offensive apparel needs, go to Mean Street Wear on tpublic.com.